What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Retro Hoop Collectibles. We are witnessing Ali Frazier between two juggernauts fighting it out in the good old courts of the United States of America. If you are if you're following this channel, which I gotta assume that you are, that means that you're a collector, and that means that I gotta assume that over the last 4 to 5 days, your news feeds on your Instagram, Twitters, Facebooks, TikToks have all been flooded with the news that Panini is suing Fanatics under the guise of monopoly. Basically saying that Fanatics is forming a monopoly, that they are, it's an antitrust lawsuit. Basically saying that they are doing what Panini has been doing for the last 10 years. A couple of things came out of all of this. As you guys know, I was incredibly optimistic about Fanatics. I then became cautiously optimistic. And now I'm starting to get a little worried, and I'll tell you guys why. Not anything in particular against Fanatics that has kind of given me this new fold of evidence that I am now digesting and putting into the overall outlook that I have of Fanatics taking over. We'll get to that in a second. But Panini basically said, hey, you guys are taking over so much so that it's not leaving any room for anybody else to compete against you guys, and that is illegal. Generally, they'd be right, but the thing about antitrust lawsuits, they're pretty hard to prove. Paul Lesko is somebody that you guys would like following on Twitter if you don't already. He is a lawyer who is also very much in the sports card space, and he follows and documents and gives a lot of insights about any lawsuits that are currently going on in the hobby. Highly recommend you follow Paul Lesko. Well, so that happened, I think, late last week. Panini files their lawsuit against Fanatics. And in there, they cite all kinds of stuff, right? Basically saying that they're creating a monopoly, that also Fanatics is poaching their employees in a manner that is threatening, because they're saying that if that Fanatics is telling these employees, if you don't join us, if you don't leave Panini and join us, then you will never work in this industry again. Also, there's some speculation that that Fanatics is essentially making it impossible for Panini to operate in an effort to, by way of buying all of the manufacturing capacity of sports cards from essentially the third-party companies that print all the cards, right? And that's pretty much it. I mean, it's basically Panini tattletelling on Fanatics and coming with some relatively weak arguments in terms of, I wouldn't say weak arguments, but sort of hypocritical arguments. Well, as of today, Fanatics has, as I would have imagined they would have, I really thought that they were just going to try to sweep this under a rug, and it's basically a Chihuahua barking at a Great Dane in this case. And so, but they fired back. Fanatics is basically saying, shut the hell up. You guys have been doing the same thing for the past 10 years. Not only that, over the last 3 to 4 years, you guys have grossly underserved the space. Your customer service is absolutely horrific, to the point to where you guys have lost all of your customers. You have built disdain in the hobby. You had a monopoly for over 10 years in football and basketball. And you guys are currently operationally inept to run this business. You guys have redemptions that have gone unserviced, unfulfilled. You have customer service requests that have gone unfulfilled. You guys have pretty much done everything in your power to maintain a stagnant state in the hobby by not marketing, by not advancing the hobby, and only making sure that all the profits are funneled directly into the pockets of the parent company that is Panini Italy. I think it's Italy. Making sure that your company officers back home keep their pockets laced. And in doing so, you have created a horrible, horrible hobby market, and you guys suck. And that is why we came in, and we are going to revive the hobby. We have multiple examples of which we have shown that we are investing not only in the hobby itself, but also investing in the future of the hobby, investing in making sure that the next generation of collectors are in good hands. We are setting up a network that is going to lower prices, whereas you guys have jacked up prices over the last 3 or 4 years. We are going to create an interactive space and environment for everybody in the hobby going forward. And we're basically going to turn a big fat frown upside down for the rest of the hobby for years to come. Go pound sand is what Fanatics is telling Panini. And I, for one, think that Panini has no chance in this lawsuit. Fanatics originally responded in a media response, not necessarily in the courts, but this is the official court response. They are countersuing Panini. But prior to the countersuit, they did have some comments about the suit, and basically saying that this was Panini's last-ditch attempt because they were trying to sell the company unsuccessfully. They have unsuccessfully... They were unsuccessful in trying to sell the company, and this is why, as a last-ditch attempt, before their company goes up in flames, they are now trying to sue Fanatics. So, I think that Panini is not going quietly into the night. They have lost. Panini has lost. Panini lost the hobby 3 years ago, in my opinion. They took advantage of a hot market by jacking up prices. They were very greedy. They were very selfish. And Fanatics is absolutely correct. They did not give back to the hobby that had given them so much. During a time where they could have exponentially expanded their business in the Americas, they didn't do so because Panini's first and foremost agenda is not to advance the hobby; it is to lace their pockets. I am of that thought. Now, the one thing that came out of all of this that makes me concerned about Fanatics taking over is the detail that, and I don't know if this is true for the NBA, but it is true for the NFL, that the NFLPA signed a 20-year agreement with Fanatics for Fanatics to produce their cards, the license. That does not sit well with me. I don't like that. I don't like that they are tied in that hard for that long. And it makes sense now that they did something like that. And I imagine that they did something very similar in baseball as well as basketball, because one of the main reasons why Fanatics was able to acquire all of the NFLPA licenses, NBA and MLB PA licenses, as well as the NFL, NBA, and MLB league licenses, is because the deal was so lucrative for those respective associations that they would have been stupid to turn it down. Now, At the moment, we were unaware of the terms of the conditions of the contracts, so we had no idea how they managed to pull that off. But now we know, because of this little bit of information that came out about this 20-year deal. So the only way that I would imagine Ruben would give up so much equity, so much financial upside, is to lock them in for a long period of time. And that is not good for the hobby. I don't care how good Fanatics does. I don't care how good their intentions are. I don't care what good plans they have for the future and for the advancement of the hobby. Locking in those licenses for a 20-year period is not good for anybody. And I'm a little concerned about that. As you guys know, one of my favorite times in the hobby for basketball was 90s to early 2000s. And that is because we had multiple companies making multiple designs of cards, thus pushing each other to compete. And as a result, we as a hobby got some of the best cards for basketball during that era, in my opinion. Some of the most iconic cards came out during that era. And the envelope stopped getting pushed when Panini took over and acquired that license and kept it to themselves and basically ran Upper Deck out of the building from basketball and so on and so forth. So it's not a good look. I'm not extremely happy about that bit of information that came out in the middle of all these proceedings, suing each other back and forth. But we'll see how this pans out. Like I said, I don't think Panini has a snowball's chance in hell of going up against Big Daddy Deep Pockets Ruben. And this lawsuit is pretty stupid because it's very hypocritical for them to be pointing the finger at Fanatics when they essentially did the same thing to all the other companies when they took over their licenses. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I don't have warm and fuzzies as much as I used to anymore. Let me know what you guys think. I always reserve the right to change my mind given new evidence. And this new evidence of 20-year lock-in for Fanatics to the respective players' associations is not a good look. It does not make me warm and fuzzy inside. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. Love y'all. Peace.